Hi, welcome back to this video, and today we are going to discuss on how to add CSS. But before then, allow me to introduce you to the new text editor. Remember, in the previous video, we downloaded Visual Studio Code, which is now our new text editor. So, guys, straight away, let's open the new text editor we downloaded in the previous video. So just go to the Windows logo here, then go to your apps, and then click on this Visual Studio Code, and give it time to open. Yeah, it depends on the speed of your computer. Like mine, it's a bit slow, that's why it's taking forever. So let's give it time. You'll see how efficient it is. So it has finally opened. So when you have this page like this, just go to the open folder. You see here. Um, let's close this instruction. These instructions here. So just click the open folder, and then you can select a new folder, or perhaps you create. If you had a previous folder for HTML, you can use it. For my case, I had saved a folder, or I had created a folder here, which is HTML and CSS. So just click on your folder, or you can select a new folder. You can create a new folder actually, and then click select. Yeah, and perhaps you might want to remove these instructions here. So guys, this is now the folder we've created, but now we want to have the HTML file and an external CSS. But before, guys, today we are going to discuss on how to add CSS. And remember, we have three ways to insert CSS to your HTML document. The first one is an external CSS, and then we have the internal CSS and inline CSS. Remember, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. It's not a programming language, but it's a styling language. And HTML also is not a programming language, but it's a markup language. So having understood this, um, let's create a file for HTML. So click on this icon here, and then click. Do you recall how to save a HTML document? It is just index.html. Remember, the keyword is this extension .html, but you can have anything here. Perhaps you might want to say homepage.html, or contacts.html, or whichever file but remember, the keyword is this extension here .html. So let's create another folder, another file for the CSS. So for CSS, okay, as let's create another folder here. Another file here is for our CSS. So you can save anything like my styles dot CSS. Remember, the extension is CSS. You can add anything here before this extension dot CSS. And so guys, with this extension, it will define that as this is a HTML document. So anything .css. So when you're done, just click enter, and then you are done. But before we go to external CSS, perhaps we might want to discuss. We might want to discuss the very basics, or preview what we discussed last time. So before then, go to your index.html, and then I remember in the previous in text editor, we used to say that HTML and click enter, and then it give us the structure of the HTML document. But with this one, it fails. You see, it just give us such things. But so now in this new text editor, just just click this exclamation mark, and then I click enter. So it give you the structure of a HTML page. So I'm sure you do remember this first line. This actually defines the version of the HTML you're using. So for example, this will tell the browser that this is a HTML5. Remember, HTML5 is the latest version of HTML. And then and this second line, this HTML defines the root of the file. The root of this file is HTML, and then this lang defines the language that the browser will understand this document. It is English. It is English actually, and then we have the head, and then in the head you see you have different tags, different elements. So this first line actually defines the metadata. It defines the metadata of your document, the character sets. For example, you have included the CSS, JavaScript, and so forth. So this with this tag, it can define the data in your document, the character sets and so forth. And then with this second line, this second tag, and the third tag, defines the responsiveness of your page to different devices. For example, someone is using a phone, another one is using a laptop, a TV, or any other device. With this line, it can help them to see or to view your content very well without any interruptions. And then you have the title. The title is now what will appear at the tab section of your browser. Like it will appear something like above here. So these are this title is what will appear there. So perhaps let's rewrite this title, and I give it something like HTML and CSS. So this is our title, and then let us go to the body. In the body, let us give it a title like mm, here we just write H1, and then click enter, and then let's give it how to, because we're going to discuss how to add CSS to your HTML document. So let's write the title to be how to add CSS to your HTML files. Yeah. So this is our title, and then this is now what will appear at the page on your page. But remember, this title here will appear just at the tab section. You'll see, and I'm sure you've seen. If you have watched my previous video, you understand what I'm saying. Then in the next line, at least let's give it a paragraph, like P. Remember, the tag for paragraph is just P. And then let's generate some text here. Click or write, just write lorem, and then I click enter. It will give you some text here. Yeah, it will give you some text, but perhaps let me try to have this so that you may see it properly. mm, so that it may be very small. It may be many lines that you may see very well. So this is now a paragraph, and so guys, let's add another paragraph so that at least we may have two paragraphs. So just write P for paragraph, and then click enter, and then let's write lorem 10, but this time let's give it 10. Yeah, that's like that, so that it may give us just a single line. Yeah. So now, guys, let's discuss CSS. We have the HTML document. Remember, CSS is all about styling a HTML document. So first of all, you must have a HTML document before you begin to code CSS. So remember, you have three different types of or three different ways. The three different ways of inserting the CSS. So the first one is an external CSS. Like this one, we have created a new external style file for CSS, and then we have the internal CSS, and then we have the inline CSS. So first of all, let's begin with the internal CSS. So the internal CSS, or the internal cascading style sheet may be used if one HTML has a unique style. If you just want to style the homepage, to be different with the rest of the pages, like in the contact page, and also for the blogs page. So you might want to style differently so that it may appear different with different pages. So this is now where the internal CSS chips in. So when you want to insert an internal CSS, is what we discussed actually in the previous video. So just create a new line. It appears between the start tag of the head, and the end tag of the head. Actually, it appears between the head element. So just write style, uh, and then give it like that, and then let's split it. So this is now the internal CSS. Do you recall how to add a CSS, or how to style a HTML document? So for example, let's use the H1. H1, you recall the selector things. So just write H1. H1 is now a selector in CSS, and then we use these curly braces. Curly braces are just the symbol just in the same button, but above the square bracket. It's called the curly braces. This one. So we have opened and closed the curly braces. So in this H1, we might want to style the color. So the color, let's give it something like so when you write color, uh, color, color is the property, and when you give it something like tomato, the color tomato is now the value. So you have the color property, and then tomato the value. So when you are done with the first style, first declaration, remember the color and the property is now the declaration. So let's add another declaration. Perhaps let's give it something like to be centered. So let's say um, text align, and then let's say centered. Let's say sender. Yeah, it has given us the option. So when you're done, just click save. Uh, After you've saved your document, perhaps let's open the file so that it may appear in the browser. So just click open the file explorer. Perhaps it is on your tab section, or on the just click Windows logo plus E to open the file explorer, and then I go to downloads, and then because I had saved it on download. So in the download, then go to HTML and the CSS. So we have the HTML. Just click on it. It is displaying the Chrome icon because Chrome is my default browser, but the browser, it might be the Edge, Microsoft Edge, Windows Explorer. Actually, it might be we have different types of the browsers, Firefox and so forth. But for me, my default is Chrome, Google Chrome. Just click on it, then open. So guys, I see we have styled the heading. We have given it the color to be tomato, and standard to be centered. So let's create this. Let's have these two to have these two windows open at the same time for you know for this text editor. So actually, basically, we have styled the H1. So if you want to style the perhaps the background color at the page, you just go to the body, just write body. Bodies now will be your selector body, and then I click a space bar at least, and then open the and close these curly braces, and then I just write background color because I want to add some background color to be something like I like light blue. I don't know what you like. I like light blue for background. So they just click Control S. Just click Control S to save. Then on the browser side, just refresh or click Control R to refresh. So guys, you see how the background color of the page. But now we want to style this paragraph. At least let's give it a different color. What color will match with this the background? Uh, Perhaps it will be the thick color, the dark. So for 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 paragraph, let's write mm, P, and then let's give it something like I don't know. Let's give it something like let's say purple. I don't know if it's well. I don't know how to match colors well, but for this is just an example. Let's say purple. Let's say color. I don't know if it will give us the color pickers with this. Let's give it something like purple. Purple. Click Control S to, and then I refresh at least. Yeah. And so guys, we will discuss how to resize the these fonts to resize this text. So guys, this is now all about the internal CSS. It lies between the head and it's given the style, this style element, style, the start tag for style, and then the close tag of the style. But just between the head and between between the head elements. So the inline CSS goes in this way. So the inline CSS style may, or actually let's say an inline CSS may be used to apply a unique style for a single element. Perhaps you want to style the paragraph, this second paragraph alone, to the color actually to give it a color. So the inline CSS, you just click on it, on this first tag, and then write style, yeah, style, and then give it the color, perhaps the color, uh, you know, let's say, oh no, let's give it color. So the color to be what? To be red. Let's say red. So when you write this tag, it is now the inline CSS. So just click Control S to save, and then refresh here. So guys, you see how the this second paragraph to be, it is now red. So this is now all about the inline CSS. So on your browser, actually, so the next thing is the external and the internal. We haven't discussed the external. We are going to discuss, but the priority that will be given is the the first of all is the internal style, and then the external. And then the another option that will determine how your page will look like when you have these three cascading order. These are CSS, different style of CSS. Is now the browser default. So perhaps your browser will determine that the external to be the the default, the external to be the external CSS to affect and everything. So it will actually depends with the browser's default that will determine which style will appear first. Perhaps it might be the external inline or the internal. So guys, now having understood the inline and then the internal. Let's now discuss the external CSS. So with this external CSS, perhaps let's remove these things. Let's remove these what these internal CSS. And so now with the external CSS, you write the same as to the internal. And so guys, the external CSS now. So the external CSS, just like the internal CSS, it lies between the head and the the head and the head between the head element actually. So the external CSS, you can change the look of the entire website by changing just one file. The goodness with it. You might have perhaps the homepage, the contact section, the blog section, and name it. So when you have the external CSS, it can affect the entire pages at one time. So each HTML page must include the reference of the to the external style sheet you are using. Um, but it must be between this link element. So this is the link element. Link. This is the link element. So the link defined there is for style, for actually for CSS, just for CSS. Remember, href is the hyperreference. So this is for it's actually for CSS. Then this the reference, it might be, now you write this my styles.css, the root of the name of the file, which is my styles.css. So when you have written this when you have written this code, so now when you code on this my styles, it will affect the browser here. So perhaps control S to save. Then let's go to refresh. Yeah. So guys, now we have added an external CSS. So with the external CSS, you don't include the HTML tags. You just write, for example, you want to affect this, the heading, this heading actually. So you just write H1. Remember, H1 is the selector, and then you open and close these, curly braces, and then write something like a color to be. Let's try red, brown. Which color should we use right now? Let's give it something like I don't know. Give it something like this one, and then another thing. Let's make it to be centered. So text align to be centered, to be center. So when you click Control S, save, and then refresh, you see it has affected what the page. And then for paragraph, let's give it um you know let's give it something like oh, remember the selector first of all. P for selector, and then open and close these curly braces, and then write color color to be color to be what to be what, let's say dark blue. hmm and then click Control S to save. Then here Control R to refresh. So guys, you see we have affected this entire paragraph. But you recall that we did not remove the you know the inline CSS, and the inline CSS, it cannot change. It cannot change or it can't be controlled with any other styles. So unless you remove the so unless you remove this tag, this style, this inline style, it will not change in this on your page, because the browser will give the first priority to be the inline. So another thing that we might want to style here is the background color of the your page. So just click, or just do you first of all begin the selector. The selector for background is what? Just body. You do remember these things. Just write body, and then open and close these curly braces, and then I'll write background color to be what will match here. If we give it something like this, will it match? Just click Control S to save, and then R to refresh. Wow, does not it doesn't match actually. I see it does not match well. So perhaps you might want to change a color. So you can as well use this color picker. Uh-huh. Color picker, and then let's give it something like that. We will discuss our colors in the next video. Just hold on. I'm just using for example. So I don't know, but let's give it something else. Let's give it something like light blue here. Control S to save, and refresh. So guys, this is the basics. Perhaps let's change the H1 color to be something like this dark something. Then Control S to save, and then refresh. So guys, we have discussed the external CSS, the internal CSS, and the inline CSS. So guys, this is all I wanted to show you in this video. But in the next video, we are going to discuss these colors in details. Just wanted to, um, to help you get started to this new text editor, and at least understand the external, internal, and inline CSS. So and how to add your CSS to your HTML file. So guys, by now I guess this is the end of the video, but just hold on, keep it here. I'm going to create another video for colors. So just stay tuned and subscribe. Just subscribe, and like the video. And if you have any suggestion, just write in the comment section. I'll see you later in the next video. I'm going to create a video on colors. So guys, keep it here. Thank you so much for watching.